Greetings, esteemed viewer, and welcome to this video, my battle versus this person who has a name I cannot pronounce or even read. All I know is they have used a team full of fucking legendaries. Let me tell you something. If you use a team full of legendaries, let alone legendaries that you can only get from Pokebank and therefore most people across the world cannot have, you are going to piss people the fuck off. So stop using them, you asshole. At any rate, it doesn't matter because, luckily for me, aside from the first few turns, I get a pretty good momentum going. And it's quite clear that the opponent didn't know what they were doing. So they've led with Dark Void, because of course they've led with Dark Void. I managed to get my Tailwind off because that was, you know, an easy thing to do. Getting the Tailwind before anything else with Aerodactyl's speed. And luckily both of those are affected by Sandstorm. And what's really annoying about this is now I'm in a situation where I actually want my Tyranitar to faint so that I can get a free switch in, basically. I should never be in this position because you should not be using fucking Pokebanked legendaries that I can't access, you wanker. Yeah, I'm a bit mad. A bit mad, actually. Very, very, very angry with this whole situation. Anyway, so Sandstone is fainted, and Aerodactyl is still alive. I'm kind of lucky that they didn't target Aerodactyl at all. I guess they didn't see it as that much of a threat, because now I can bring in Garchomp, who under Sand is quite happy to break things. And luckily for me, Zoomstone woke up, so it can use Rock Slide, which did a bit of damage to Darkrai, and then the Earthquake, because I've got Tailwind up, Garchomp gets to go before the opponent. And the Sand-boosted Earthquake with Stab definitely handles that Darkrai. The Meloetta probably also would have fainted if I had managed to hit it with Rock Slide. Unfortunately, I didn't, but that's fine. So Relic Song, not very effective on Zoomstone, pretty neutral on Dragonstone. All of the Pokemon on my Sandstorm team now were named various different stones. And in comes this Arceus. And I had a bit of trouble with the Arceus because I didn't know what type it was. There are about 3 or 4 pinkish purple Arceus colors, so I did not know which one this was. And that confused me greatly. I later figured out that it was Fairy. I wish I had known that earlier, because if I had, this turn would have been so much different. My Garchomp carries Iron Head, which is boosted with Sand Force, so it would have been plus 1.3 times power from Sand Force, and then it would have been super effective against the Arceus. So I didn't realize it was Fairy until later after this. I probably did not see that it was super effective with Judgment against Garchomp, because I definitely didn't realize it was Fairy until after this, when I tried to knock off the Arceus's plate for some reason, and it came up not very effective. So Lugia's gone for Thunderbolt, and down goes Aerodactyl. And it uses Spatial Rend now. She's confusing. I think Spatial Rend has a high critical hit rate. Either way, Clawstone, its Toxic Orb activates, and it knocks off this. And this is, I think, where I start to figure out that it's a Fairy. So the Lugia has Fly, and I've used X-Scissor. This definitely lets me see that it's not Psychic like I thought it was. And it is in fact Fairy. So it's used Earthquake, which is super effective against my Barbaracle. Not very, actually, doesn't affect Clawstone at all. And I've used Roost. And of course I've used Roost because I, forget that Roost puts me on the ground. So Earthquake can actually hit me, which didn't really do that much to Clawstone anyway, but Waterstone is slowly dying. And this is where we get to see that the opponent isn't too good at deciding what to do, because they use Toxic on Barbaracle instead of any sort of damaging move. We already know that the Lugia has Thunderbolt, which would be super effective against Barbaracle, but they don't do that. And then the Extreme Speed Gliscor instead of doing anything to Barbaracle, giving Barbaracle one extra turn to actually take out the Arceus with Razor Shell. So that was not very clever playing. So the Poison Heal puts some health back onto Gliscor, and Toxic takes out Waterstone, and there goes Barbaracle. So I send in my Arkenstone, my Nidoking, and they've sent in Reshiram. Now I am pretty happy with what happens next. So I knock off the Wide Lens from Reshiram, and they've gone for Dragon Pulse, finally deciding to try and kill Gliscor. Good idea. But now Arkenstone can just whip out the Earth Power, which is super effective on Reshiram, and take it out. Arkenstone has a Life Orb and Sheer Force, which boosts all of its moves considerably. And in comes Mewtwo. And here's where I really thought that I should have died, because he's got Lugia and Mewtwo, both of which are capable of using Stab Psychic moves. But instead, he uses Focus Blast, which I dodge. Focus Blast is not very effective on Nidoking anyway. Lugia uses Roost. And it has a 30% chance to miss. Using Focus Blast, I've never agreed with it, and I don't understand why people still carry it. What I also don't understand is why that Lugia has now used Toxic, and in this turn will try to use Thunderbolt on Nidoking, which is Ground Poison. Both of those do nothing to Arkenstone. I've actually managed to take out the Mewtwo. I was happy to get as far as 4 Pokemon down. Now, I know that I'm actually going to win this battle. Unless he gets a critical with Fly. And that is just proof that stacking your team full of Legendaries won't do shit if you don't know what you are doing. So I'm not going to thank you for the battle because you're a cheating piece of crap with all the Legendaries on your team. Thank you for watching though, I hope you enjoyed it, and bye!